All right. Let's see here. What do we got next, Jesse?
All right, next question we got from Mika, and he asked, "Does listening to a podcast count as reading?"
No, I don't count it the same. I think these are two different classes of intellectual substance that you're ingesting. Here's the quick way I discern between the two. So when you're reading a book, you're ingesting a fully formed, carefully thought through thought structure. And we're talking nonfiction here. But you have a writer who has really thought something through. It might be their lifelong expertise or something they researched deeply. They spent a long time trying to organize these thoughts into a structure that is internally coherent and makes sense and has been validated. So when you're reading a good nonfiction book, you can basically take this well-crafted thought structure and just graft it onto your cognitive framework. Oh, now I understand, the influence of cryptocurrency on whatever, fiat currency markets. Plug that in. Podcast, it's more conversational. I think of podcast as a source of the type of material with which you could build one of these structured thoughts, right? Oh, I might learn a bunch of interesting stuff from a podcast, but there's still a lot of work to be done probably to take the various things I heard in this interview or got out of this conversation and mix it with things I've learned elsewhere and build it together into a coherent thought. To build it together into something I could write 10,000 words on or write a book about. So you're getting rawer thought stuff on podcasts than in books. So that's why I think about it differently. It's also why it's less cognitively demanding to listen to a podcast. You can zone in and out, be in conversational mode, and when you hear something interesting, then pay attention and sort of collect that for use later. So I see it as being different things. The exception, of course, is this podcast. Nothing about this is raw. This is all finely honed intellectual material. My proposal, and I think this is reasonable, is that listening to this podcast should legally be equivalent to being awarded a doctorate from an accredited university. And that's just it's just one man's opinion.
What's your view on podcasts versus music?
Different things. Like music's an aesthetic experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially if you have music appreciation, either it's like an appreciation experience, like I just really enjoy this musician, or it's kind of like a neurotropic experience. I'm working out and I want to just get fired up, or it's just want to get lost or listen to something fun. It's like mood alteration. So it's like an aesthetic experience, mood alteration. I think that's different than information ingestion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I count them differently.